we have a new item as the first item. Right?
According to the agenda, which?
We have a new item as the first item here. I've never seen that one before.
I think I just phrased it a little differently, that it's usually been in a different spot, but.
That's fine. So we can call the meeting to order. And I don't think we need a roll call because I think we all know each other. Is that okay? Or would you like a roll call?
I mean, legally you're supposed to do it, but.
Really? Okay, well, then we'll do it. Lori DiDonato,
I'm here.
Gillian,
I'm here.
and I think that's all we need to do really for a roll call, but we also have Anna.
Announce yourself too, Dan.
Anna, are you here?
Yes, I am here, and so are you, Dan. So you need to announce that you are also present tonight.
I am here. I'm Dan and I'm here. And Glenn, I think, is here.
I am here. It's true.
Great, thanks. I don't see the signing of the warrant here, but that is going to happen tomorrow, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. So we probably should have that as the first item, signing of the warrant, even though we're not doing it at the meeting, and note that it's happening tomorrow or at another time and place. We had an amendment on the March 16th warrant. I don't have that in front of me.
No, this is the item to review the March 16th minutes, any changes or amendments, or whether you want to approve them.
They all look good to me. Anybody else?
I'll make a motion to approve the March 16th minutes.
Moved and seconded that we approve those minutes. Any discussion? In that case, we can vote on approving the minutes. All those in favor of approving the March 16th minutes, say aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okey doke. North Quabbin Health Collective Agreement. I'm not really up to speed on that either.
Barbara's here to speak to it.
Yeah, I believe I emailed you a copy of you meaning the select board, a copy of the agreement.
Yeah, you did it. That looked good. What's your feeling about it?
Well, I had town council look at it. Actually, David Dineski looked at it. I guess Alex was busy with other things. He said it looked good to him. I mean, the contract was originated by Phoebe Walker. You've probably heard of her, from FERCog. So he said it looked fine to him. So I sent it to you next because it's a municipal agreement, so we need select board approval.
Right.
And just a question, Barbara, there's no cost to the
No,
town?
there isn't. No.
And it looks like a great support in terms of to the Board of Health.
Yeah, it'll make us eligible for funds that we might not otherwise be able to use, and it will also give us a shared contact tracer for COVID.
Great.
Yeah, and it's interconnection with other towns and sharing information, which is great.
Like they were saying that the cost of kind of sharing it is being covered by a grant. So it's possible to imagine a future where they come back and ask for an assessment of some sort, but it sounds like it's covered by a grant for the time being.
Yes, we are actually, this was a 3-year grant, and for some reason, and I'm not really sure why, unless we just weren't contacted before, we are actually entering in the middle of the 3 years. So there's actually a 1.5 years left. So at the end of that time, if we renew the contract, at that point, there may be some kind of assessment. But we don't know what or if yet. Right now, there's $50,000 between, I believe it is, between the towns. So.
And we would have an option to review it and decide at that point.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, well, thanks for doing that, Barbara. It looks good to me. Lori, did you have any further thoughts?
No, looks good to me.
Okay, Barbara, it sounds like we're ready to do whatever we need to do. Should we vote on that or just
I
sign
guess, I guess someone needs to make a motion to approve it and then you all need to vote. Is
I can,
I
I can make
understand.
a motion to approve the agreement for the Cooperative Public Health Services for the North Quabbin Health Collaborative for Wendell to join.
Good, I second that. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we can vote on agreeing to join the collective of the North Quabbin Health. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that passes unanimously, Barbara.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for
All
doing
right.
all that.
Thanks,
I'll
Barbara.
say goodbye for now.
Okey doke.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
night.
Good night.
Thanks.
Good night. The next item I had brought up, the compromise panel on the side of the town offices. Eric, our custodian, had brought it to my attention that he had painted that last summer. It's a panel that's near the posting board, and it's
Yeah.
all peeling off again. And
Yeah,
so
it
he
gets
checked
water.
it out. He checked it out and he said that the actual board underneath is compromised and it's like flaking and coming apart.
Yeah,
So he said it would just continue to do that. So he didn't know, if we wanted to work to have that replaced. And so then I just took a quick glance and it looks like there's some other places around the building that the same thing is happening. And I didn't know if we wanted to sort of put that on our list of things to check out and have repaired. He's willing to repaint it again once it's fixed, but we have the paint.
Nah.
But he doesn't think it makes much sense to paint it again if it's just gonna
right.
flake
Yeah,
off.
that particular place is where there's a valley up on top and there's a lot of water coming down there. And it's always been losing its paint. And I think it's the outside of that building is hardy board. And so there's a section of it that would have to be replaced. It's not simple, but not a big deal. I think the other places are less of a problem than that one particular one. So maybe we should just replace that, just replace that one and paint it, and see how it goes. See how much it costs to replace it.
Right,
It's not too simple
right.
to make it look good anyway.
And how do we go about that? Is that one of those things that we would just get a couple,
Get a couple of bids.
Mhm.
Yep,
ask Tom Chasen and
Yep.
others? Yep.
yep. We could, yeah, exactly, ask a few people. And I think, to my mind, I think the thing to do would be to replace that one board and paint it and see how things go with the other ones. Because that's not a big construction job. But
Right.
what do you folks think?
Sounds good. Is there any chance Alistair would be able to do that?
Sure, we could
Work.
ask him too.
Because
Sure.
then we could do it without going out to bid, or.
Yeah,
And
do
he
it
actually
in-house.
looked at it with me.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, so he's aware of what needs to be done.
yeah, all
I
we
didn't-
need, all
I
we
didn't
need is,
ask him.
all we need is 3 quote unquote quotes from contractors.
Do we
Um,
need that, though, if Alistair could do it as part of his town position?
No,
Yeah.
and I don't think we need to do it with Tom either. Because Tom works for us in various positions and we often hire him to do jobs just because he's available and it's a low price job.
Should we check with Alistair to see if it feels like that fits into,
Yeah, that sounds
Yes.
good to me.
and who should do that check-in with him? Do we want Glenn or?
Well, either one of us or Glenn. Lori, did you Are you
I don't
interested?
mind. I can do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks, Lori.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Thanks. And while we're on the subject of town building maintenance, skip down to the, maybe we should skip down to the item on clearing brush around town hall, because I've looked at that, and this is something we need to do in order to paint the building, because the brush is growing right up to the edge of the building. And it's more than brush. There's some saplings there that are 4 or 5 inches in diameter, and they're hitting the building, actually. So there's more than one reason to take them out. And there's a bunch of stuff that would need to come out in order to paint the building. There's 2 big pricker bushes, one on the corner that's more than 8 or 9 feet tall, and you can't even walk between the bush and the building. And it's something that I wouldn't really want to take out because it's a big pricker bush, but it's got to go. And I did ask Tom to give us a number on it, and he said he would do the whole thing for $400. So if that sounds good to everybody, I think we can do that.
A question, I had just been speaking with Martha Sen. She said if we could just make sure to let her know
Yeah,
about when we're painting. So it seems like we should also let her know before we do the brush
yeah.
cutting. And if she has any
Tom
questions.
knows Martha, and he's well aware of the property boundary there.
Mhm.
And he said he would check with Martha before he does anything there.
Okay,
And he's done this, he's done that before, worked
Mhm.
with Martha about the approach to the building in the back, because there's about a 4-foot corridor you have to be walking in.
Mhm.
But I think she expressed some approval at the idea of getting rid of all the brush,
right.
because it's encroaching on her too.
Yep.
Okay, so do we have a consensus on that, to let Tom go
Sounds good
ahead?
to me.
Sounds
Okay,
good to me.
good. Thanks, me too.
Thanks for
Yep,
getting that done.
yep.
Does that just come out of town maintenance?
Town
Building
building maintenance. And I haven't checked on the balance recently, but I'm pretty sure there's enough in there to cover that. We can check with Doug the next time we talk to him.
Okay, because it
But
sounds
that-
like there might be some painting at the senior center that might come out of that line, possibly as well. So.
Right, yeah.
Oh,
And you know, Gillian, there's a reserve fund that the finance committee has. And if any of the accounts run short during the year, they can
Mhm.
use that to supplement any fund in the
Okay.
budget. It's called a reserve fund, and I think it's around $10,000 now per
okay,
year. And so that requires a FinCom vote, but it can be used for anything in
okay.
any account that has problems.
And actually, that just reminded me, for a while, we were getting the financial reports emailed to us,
Mhm.
like that when the warrants were done, so we could see the expenditures. Is
Monthly or bi-weekly.
I think when we just had, yeah, when the warrants were done.
Yeah,
Could we request from Erin that happens again? I'm
Yeah,
assuming that's who it would come from.
I'll forward you the one because I'm still on her email distribution list for that.
Okay,
So I'll forward the one that I got today, and I'll ask her to add you on going forward.
great. Thank you, Glenn.
Thanks.
yeah, good idea. Okay, I guess the next one is you, Glenn, coordinator attendance at Mooney Conference.
Yeah, it's actually the Massachusetts Municipal Association. They're having a Western Mass Select Board or town officials conference of some sort. I think it's a Select Board leaders conference. And so I was just asking whether you all would approve my attendance. It's $35 for the fee, and then about $32 for mileage reimbursement from Greenfield to East Hampton.
I
Sounds
would
good to
strongly
me.
support your attendance. Yeah.
Yes, sounds great.
All right, great.
Thanks,
Thanks
Glenn.
for going.
Sure.
So it's an actual in-person meeting.
It is, yeah, they have, and all of you should consider attending as well. It looks like it's going to be a great day. And yeah, they do have some protocols that they're using for COVID. So
Do you have an agenda for today's activities?
I'll forward it along to you.
That'd be great. Love to see it.
Yeah, I was briefly considering going, but I'm not sure.
Maybe not sure about being in East Hampton at 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, exactly.
That sums it up. Okay, moving right along, we've got the annual town meeting warrant timeline. Now that needs to be posted only a week before the actual
Oh, that
meeting
one's-
because it's the annual.
Okay, that's right. Okay, that would.
But
move
still,
things.
it's good to keep that in mind.
Yeah, great. Okay, I can revise this based on that. Probably move most of the items. So for people who are watching from home, I kind of shared with the select board a draft schedule for getting the warrant articles to me and then having the select board approve them and then for posting the warrant and so on. So I can adjust that, but the basic concept is to work backwards from the town meeting and try to
Yeah.
have the meeting all ready to post, I guess in this case, 2 weeks before. We need to legally have it done a week before, but Dan suggested really having a week's buffer there just
Yeah.
to make sure we can do it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the assistant constable who posts the warrants, and I've always tried to do it at least 2 or 3 days before the legal posting date, just in case something goes wrong,
yeah,
which it sometimes does, like a flat
Yeah.
tire or whatever. Okay, that sounds good, Glenn. Thanks for doing that.
sure.
That helps me sleep better at night. I mean, know that.
We
The
want you to
schedule.
sleep, Dan.
Okay, we have the opioid settlement, and I did sign some documents today relating to that, essentially saying we'd be happy to be part of a settlement.
I actually have questions about that. I kind of
Yeah.
looked into it. I think I'm just being skeptical.
Mhm.
So from 2022 to 2038, we would receive a whopping total of $2,209. And it's to be
Oh.
used on abatement strategies. So is it really worth all of the paperwork, the time? If we receive $200 a year,
Yeah, well,
And
if there's not much paperwork and not much time, then why not? But I agree that if there is a
Yeah.
lot of paperwork, then it's not worth doing. But maybe Glenn, you know how much paperwork there is. Or
Hard to tell just from what I was reading. I mean, if we went ahead and did it, and then we found that the paperwork, I can't imagine that the Attorney General's office wants to get involved in monitoring every cent that every town in this state is spending.
right,
But maybe it's just money that could go to the Board of Health budget or if there's I don't know, is there still a North Quabbin Youth Substance Abuse Prevention Group?
Mm,
we
Something
can
like
just
that.
give it to an organization like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, first of all, I just think, but if you don't mind me sharing my personal opinion,
no, you don't mind.
that Wendell, the citizens of Wendell experienced harm from these horrible companies, and this is what we got. I mean, maybe it's not a lot, definitely not. If anyone had any major damage to their family or friends based on their addiction to these substances because of these companies, then $2,200 is a pittance, but at least it's what we got.
Right.
And to just, even if we did just pass it through to either the Communities of the Care Coalition or North Quabbin Substance Abuse
Mhm.
Prevention Group or a recovery group or something. The
Yeah.
opiate, the Franklin County Opiate Group.
Yeah.
I'm supportive of that. I just want to go in with our eyes wide open that
Yeah, smart. Wider than
Yeah.
it,
mine.
yeah,
Yeah.
it,
That's good to know, but I'm
not gonna be a
supportive of
windfall.
going ahead.
yep. As
Gillian,
long as
can
you're
you-
worth up to doing the paperwork, Glenn, go for it.
If the paperwork gets to be too much, we'll write back to them and say, take it and give it to someone else.
Yeah.
Gillian, can you just repeat the timeline? Dominic is asking 2022 until,
To, if I wrote it down correctly, 2038.
okay, thanks.
So that's 16 years. That doesn't sound right. I'll double check it while we're talking.
So probably a motion on that to join in on that settlement would be good.
Yeah. I move that we sign the documents necessary to join in on the opioid settlement agreement.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? And we can vote. All those in favor of entering this agreement, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
I
Okay, that passes unanimously. Now we can go again. I think this is you also, Gillian, the Regional Shared IT Services Assessment.
I don't think I put that on the agenda for this meeting.
Okay.
So maybe that's a holdover from, unless, did you have any updates, Glenn, from your conversation with Sean?
Yeah, I did get to have a conversation with Sean. I mean, I think the main gist is that it's looking like the regional collaborate, maybe we already shared this last time, Gillian, but looking like the intention to kind of join together in a collaborative IT kind of approach among different towns is probably not going to happen, just because different towns are at different levels of interest in that and also at different levels of capacity. But Sean from what's the name of the center, the Warrant Center?
Collins Center.
The Collins Center. I spoke with him at length, I think yesterday, and he's essentially listening to us and hopefully doing interviews with others as well as myself in the town, and going to write up some recommendations for us in terms of IT. There's both two aspects of it. One is just kind of how we might make better use of technology to work together for the good of Wendell. And then the other aspect is how to increase our cybersecurity. Look forward to getting his recommendations and hope that other folks in the town will be responsive to his phone calls and outreach to talk to them.
And it's not necessarily that the regional piece won't happen, but we need to do this first step before that can be more of a reality.
Also
So
mentioned
it's still making plans to sort of get there eventually, hopefully, but we're not.
He mentioned that the FERCOG is exploring having something in this space as well. So one of the things that may be a recommendation that he makes to us is to look at contracting with someone for IT services for not permanently. He didn't really believe in that as a model, but on a temporary basis to wait and see what happens with the FERCOG or other collaborations that are emerging. But we'll see what the recommendations are.
Am I hearing it correctly that it sounds like the first thing Wendell needs to do is to clean its own closet, so to speak, and acquire a fair amount of computer equipment to somehow synchronize all of our departments or get them on the same wavelength or with similar gear?
Yeah,
I believe his I believe his recommendations will be to upgrade equipment, software, and to hire, though temporarily, an IT person who can help us do that.
Right.
appropriately.
Okay.
And so it is something that we need to think about in terms of budget wise and how to proceed.
Right. Okay.
And Glenn, did you send in that cyber to
Yeah,
the state?
MIA also had a cyber security application for their cybersecurity insurance. So I gathered information from Robert and Carolyn and others to fulfill that and sent it into them. And they sent it back to me because I had missed a box or two. So I sent it back to them with the items that were missing. And I think that's complete now. So I don't know I don't know what they'll do with it, to be honest. If I were them, I'm not sure how much insurance I would give us. But based on the patchwork of the one thing I think that's in our favor in terms of cybersecurity is because we're not really networked and we don't have a central kind of server, it actually decentralizes things and would make it harder for them to do a lot of damage to us. But anyway, but we have many holes, big holes in our cybersecurity for sure.
And Glenn, did you also submit that thing to the state where the opportunity is for an assessment for cybersecurity?
Sean recommended against that because he said that when we looked at the options together, I shared my screen or I shared the link with him to the different services that were being offered. So this is a free service offered by the state to help make recommendations for you on different aspects of cybersecurity. And he was saying that most of the questions assume that you have some kind of shared server, that you're just at a different level of tech than Wendell is. So he didn't advise pursuing that.
Okay.
Okay. Anything further on that, folks? Then we guess we can.
I'm just going to, I did ask him again to follow up with the group that met initially to just update them where we were at in the process and the thinking.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to see something about that soon.
Good. Checkerberry Lane complaint. I don't see the complainant at the moment.
Got a couple minutes before 7:30.
Oh yeah, good point. That's right. That was scheduled for 7:30. Then we can skip down for now to resolution to support fair share amendment on the annual warrant. I think everybody's seen that. It went out by email.
Laurel wanted to be here for that piece as well. She's scheduled for 8 p.m.
Oh, right. Sorry about that. And then board committee vacancies is sort of a broad one. Anything in particular? I see that we may be signing up a new Board of Health clerk, which is exciting.
Yes, they have hired her, and her appointment slip is in for you all to sign. She seems great.
Okay.
Her name.
I was going to ask, so we have two assessors and I don't know about the planning board if they're full now, but they are all going to be elected soon. So what's the deal with nomination papers? Is that deadline all passed and everything?
So you have appointed both Mary Thomas and Seal Lisa LaMadeleine, and they have been sworn into planning board. That still leaves 2 vacancies on the planning board. Those are 5-year terms, and I have to figure out exactly which one each one signed up for. They're both welcome to be write-in candidates. At this point, neither of them has greatly expressed interest in being a write-in candidate, and their appointments only last until the election.
Did Nan Riebschlager officially leave the board?
So no, if Nan is still an active member, that makes it 4 people on that committee. The assessors will lose 1 member at the election. Anna Seeger is not rerunning. The Board of Health is losing 1 member at the election. I have an entire list of all the vacancies that are upcoming. and nobody has stepped forward to say they want to be a writing candidate. And the nomination paper deadline was the 12th of March.
Oh, okay.
And I did speak with Martha Sen. She had contacted me, and she is concerned because if they don't have enough people, then they're not going to be able to. There's tasks that they have coming up that they're not going to be able to complete.
Right.
So that is a real concern.
Yeah, I actually spoke with Martha about that too, and we batted a lot of things back and forth, but among other things, she mentioned that there are some towns that have moved RRG into the assessor's position so that there are no town assessors at all. And this company is taking care of everything. It is the Board of Assessors, and it's the company doing all the assessing. So that is a possibility. I think she said there were at least two other towns that are doing that, and she was going to research it.
Can we have them give us a quote for like how much that would cost?
Yeah, we can, but be prepared.
I know. I mean, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a lot of money, but on the other hand, we've got the situation where assessing is becoming an incredibly arcane endeavor, and it's not simple for an ordinary Wendell citizen to step into the job and actually do useful work because it's so complicated. So I think it's worth thinking about, and maybe at the same time trying to recruit another assessor also.
Gillian, did you ever happen to check in with Luke, who had previously left the board, and
No,
thought
and I
might
actually
be worth checking in with?
Yep, I meant to, and my weekend got kind of crazy. Yeah, and it does feel like quite a task. Martha and Anna, we were just talking about the possibility of how to meet the need of assessors, and the possibility of RRG. Though it sounds like that's a process to get approved as well, if that was something we were going to consider having them do that.
Yeah, Martha, as you and I were talking about, we were just discussing offhand the possibility of RRG becoming the assessors. And I mentioned that we were going to look into that further.
Yep. I do have a little bit of information on that and that I've gotten from Kelly so far, but we can talk about that after. That's okay.
And so the other we need assessors, we need Board of Health. Anna, will you send us all the what we needs? And it sounded like with the planning board that Mary and Seal were saying we will do this temporarily, but we're not planning on doing it long term.
They are willing to fill it, on a temporary basis and see how it goes for the next few months. But the town meeting is after the town election, and there is some concern I have that they will not actually. They might need to be reappointed after the town election so that they can represent the board at the town meeting, if they're not willing to be write-in candidates.
We can still write them in, right?
Everybody can write them in. They can refuse.
They can.
Write-in position. Yes, they can.
They better not, though.
It happened with school committee last year. But yeah, I will give you the list of all the vacancies, current and then upcoming after May 3rd.
Great, thanks. Okay, well, we now have gone past 7:30, and we're getting back to the item of the 21 Checkerberry Lane complaint. And I do see Anna. I do see.
Yeah, I don't think Jody's here.
I do
Yeah, I'm
not see
watching my
Jody.
email for Jody in case she's having, or they're having trouble getting into the
Yeah.
meeting, but I'm not seeing anything yet.
I do see Anna Seeger. Thank you, Anna, for coming. But I think probably since it's 7:35 already, that we'll just press ahead with our agenda, and I'm not sure if the assessors want to hang out. That's up to them.
Can I, since we're talking about boards, I did send that email about the Wood Bank Committee. And I
Right.
thought we could touch on that. It sounds like we have 2 possible members plus Cliff. That sounds like a great committee to me.
Yeah.
The person that I spoke to had, he really said, like, what kind of time commitment is there? And I was like, I really have no idea.
Right.
Probably not a lot.
Somebody would need to take the lead on it.
I think
And-
Cliff is ready. Well, he keeps seeming like he's ready to take a lead. Oh, the question I had is actually, his email had said the next time we meet, we can discuss. And I'm trying to remember where we left it. And if we needed, like, have we settled on a place where they can put the wood?
No.
Did that? No,
No,
the spot on,
we found one good place, which is very interesting, which is right down near me, which is off Davis Road. And we had a long discussion in person with the Concom, because it is near a wetland. A brook is right next to the brook, but it was pointed out by the Concom that once a site has been degraded, you can keep degrading it to a certain extent if you take away the degradation that's there. So there are buildings on this property that the town owns. They're falling down. And Concom was saying that if we clear those buildings out, we could use the site legally as a wood bank site. And so they were going to review it further and make a final decision. And they hadn't done that. But also, I think Cliff was going to look at the site and see if he thought it would work for him, because the access is a little narrow, and it depends on the size of the trucks that need to be going in there, and et cetera, et cetera. So I think both Cliff and the Concom are looking at it right now.
okay,
And then, I do have a whole list of other town-owned property. It's like
Right.
at least 20 or 30 properties. And if that one doesn't work, then we can start going down the list and looking for others.
all right, well, maybe I'll check in with Cliff about whether or not he's checked out that property, and also we could invite him and the others to confirm that they want to be on this committee. And I mean, all we need to do is just appoint them, right? If they all agree.
Yeah,
Okay. I don't know if you, Gillian, want to contact Ezra and double check, or I don't know.
I could ask if he's willing to, like, do an initial meeting with people to sort of see if it sounds like it's something that he's up for doing.
Sure.
He's somebody he's not currently living in Wendell, but he recently purchased land in Wendell. And he and another person they've started a forestry business that sounds like it'd be a wonderful addition to the group.
Good. Okay, we'll try to connect all those people, and if we have the interest, we can create the committee.
okay. Still not seeing Jody, right?
Sent emails to both Jody and Laurel, letting Laurel know if she wanted to come early and
Good.
asking Jody if she was still planning to join us and to call me if she's having tech problems. So,
Jody's a he, just so you know.
oh, okay, good to know.
Thanks for doing that, Glenn. Any other matters that have come up that we're not anticipated.
I can give an update on the UMA phone situation.
Okay.
So it's, I guess this was all set to go a while back, and Whip City sent the equipment and Alistair had it, but he didn't really feel like he could move forward with it because he didn't have enough capacity or information. So we have all the equipment in the hut to put in UMA phones in all the buildings. The trick is we need somebody to do it. And I just called Whip City today and they said it's very easy. It's really just plugging in 3 cables. So it shouldn't be an issue. What the issue is if that I'm assuming we want to port over the Verizon phone numbers to the new phones.
Mm.
So then we need to tell Whip City, give all of our Verizon information to Whip City. And they'll get that process in place. And it takes 5 to 7 days. And then there's a moment when it's been ported and we have to switch the phone equipment. So, if between the moment when it's been ported and you plug in the new equipment, you won't have a phone.
Right.
You won't have phone service. So it probably doesn't matter for anybody except maybe the fire department. And it will take some coordination and people being sort of ready to act.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy to sort of try to work through that and get that happening. Although Glenn, if you can get me the Verizon account numbers, that would be really helpful. If that's not too difficult. And the other issue is if anyone wants a fax capability through the IP, voice over IP, we need one more piece of equipment. And now I can't remember if Whip City said they supply it or not, but it's an extra cost. So I don't know if that's something we can just pay for. If I think it would be the library. I guess I can check. I think it would really only be the library. I know they want a fax, so maybe that would come out of their budget. Yes, Anna.
I mean, if the library is willing to let me use their fax, I can do that. But I do have documents I have to fax to the state on a.
No, we're gonna leave the Verizon line for the fax at the town offices. I think that was something we've decided. Yeah. So this is for, and anyway, I'll figure this all out eventually. But at the library, we might need an extra piece of equipment for a fax. So maybe that can come out of their budget. I'll talk to Anna about that. And at the fire and the highway, we cannot do 2 separate phone numbers through our one internet connection with UMA. So I was thinking that we might as well keep a Verizon line there. It might be good to have a landline so that when internet goes out, they still have a phone. I'll double check with Joe and Rich and see what they think about that. But that would mean we are leaving a Verizon line there and at the town offices. I think that's all we would need. So anyway, still a lot more to coordinate, but I'm happy to keep on it. And
I know talking to Asa, he was really hoping to have an UMA phone line at the fire department, but then maybe that's still possible. I don't know if we could do both.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes it, if they have 2 numbers already.
Add a number.
But we can't do, if the highway, I don't think we can have an UMA phone for the highway number and the fire number.
We can't have separate phones for each one. Don't they have separate numbers?
Verizon
but
for
the
highway and UMA for fire, maybe?
That might be a possibility. The one internet connection does not allow 2 separate phone lines to work through it.
Gotcha. Okay. Right, so if we left a Verizon line in that building and then added an UMA phone, what it was is that Asa was realizing if he had UMA, they can get the messages like wherever they are, that a phone calls come into the fire department on the app. So it's really handy. So it's not like they're having to go to the fire department during the week on days they're not normally there, or
Right.
it just
They
is.
can't do that with some kind of voicemail through Verizon?
I don't know if they have a answering machine there or how it works.
Okay, I'll check in with Asa.
It might be the notifications. I can remotely check my answering machine in the town office, but I don't get notified when someone leaves a call.
Mhm.
But I get the notification if I were to log on to my UMA account that some spammer has called my house.
Right, and like I have the UMA app on my cell phone, and so I get a push notification that there's a voicemail,
Okay,
even when I'm not at home, so I think that's what Asa was looking for.
I learned this week that people who have a voicemail at the town offices with Crocker can contact them and they can set it up so you get the voicemail message as an email, if that's helpful to people.
Mhm.
Just let them know what extension and what your email address is.
Good.
But that would change when we did UMA.
Are we planning to do, maybe I was multitasking a little. Are we planning to do UMA at the town offices or are we going to stick with Crocker here?
That was another thing that I wasn't sure of.
Probably would have to stick with Crocker because if you can only do one extension per phone line. Well, I guess we only have one phone number, but then we have all the different extensions.
Yeah, there's something to do with static IP and something else that Crocker provides that we might be able to integrate with the UMA and keep it like that, I believe. So that's something that I guess I need to revisit again. Maybe I'll call Nancy. I haven't talked to Nancy in a while.
Nancy didn't want to do this job, Lori. That's part of why it wasn't done.
She'll probably answer
She's
questions.
like, I'm out.
She doesn't want to manage the project. She's quitting over it.
So Lori, if you're not thinking about the town offices using UMA because of
I
all the
just-
extensions, or which
When
ones
we
are
were
you
just
thinking?
talking about it, I realized that the town offices is a whole nother separate interesting issue
Yeah.
because of the Crocker and the multiple lines.
Right.
And I can't remember how that plays into everything. So I might either have to call back Whip City and ask them, or maybe Ray will remember, or maybe I'll call Nancy.
It feels like somebody from Whip City should come up and help us with the process. Like it's that complicated enough that it feels like,
Yeah, for the town
even if we have to
offices,
pay them a
maybe.
little bit, but like to get
Yeah.
it done. It just doesn't seem like we should still be paying Crocker when we already have our own internet.
Well, see there, I really do think that Crocker is providing something that Whip City will not or cannot.
Right. I think
Oh,
that's
wow.
true. Yeah.
That's too bad.
It's so complicated.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I'm happy to support Crocker. It's a local company. They got us started on IT and the broadband, and I don't think it's bad to mix things up and have hybrid systems at the moment when we're in this transition period.
Yeah,
And keep the stuff that's working and not try to change too much all at once.
I'll see how many boxes there are so that then I'll know how many we had planned to do originally. And then we can look at the cost too, if we want to be as certain, if we want to support Crocker, we can do that. But if they cost quite a bit more, then maybe we think about it again.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Oh, the other thing we could report back on is that Lori and I attended the Mahar budget meeting presentation.
Anna was
Okay.
Could I
asking to be
just jump in?
recognized.
Could I
Oh,
just
I'm
jump
sorry.
in before you start another topic?
Sure.
Yes.
We have a long meeting we need to get back to. Can I give you a little update in case Jody shows up?
Sure. Although, Anna, I meant to say that the email that you wrote the other day to Jody explaining the whole situation, I thought was excellent. And to me, it made total sense what you were saying, and it was a clear explanation. So I hope that helped him.
In addition to the follow-up from Kelly as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Thank you. So since we sent that email, folks at RRG reached out to their contacts at our mapping company. They have a really good relationship with CAI and was able to get them to agree to send an additional file upload to the state. Usually what we're contracted for that with them is for once a year. They sent an additional one for us. So the state system now has the information updated for map 408. So they have it. I don't know when that will become available online, but it was very considerate of both RRG and CAI to work together to get this done for us. And hopefully the state will upload it to the website soon, but as of today, it hadn't been done. I don't know when that will happen.
Right. Okay, good. Well, thanks for doing that. And thanks to RRG for stepping up and doing that extra chore, which could
Yeah.
be helpful.
Yeah, I do think, having been working with RRG, they come to the table not only with expertise, but with relationships with other businesses that we use, and it really pays to, it's an added bonus for us, an added benefit for us as a town to be working with somebody who has established relationships with all these other contractors that we may or may not be using. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful that we're working with them.
Well, thanks for hooking us up with them.
Yeah. And Anna, are you planning, or Kelly planning to give Jody that latest update as well?
Sure, we can send that in an email. I was planning on giving it to him tonight, so I hadn't made plans beyond that. We can do that.
Great, thanks.
All right, we're gonna head back to our meeting. Have a good night.
Thank you, Anna, and
Thanks.
thank you, Kelly, very much for
Thank you.
coming. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.
You're welcome.
So
Well-
the
Budget?
do you want a Maher budget update?
Yep, please.
So, yeah, the one thing I'm wrapping my head around as I get to learn more and more and more is the difference between the actual assessment and the foundation assessment, which is, so the agreement with Maher is that we are assessed at the foundation assessment, which means that it's based on every eligible student that lives in Wendell who might go to Maher. So that's 41 students. The actual number of students is 30, but we are assessed to pay 41.
Right.
And the increase is 78,000. I think it's approximate because they're making some changes too. $949. And so it's approximately, our bill will be $560,000, $560,428. And I know Doug was not surprised by that number, and he thinks that we can do it. It's not a big deal. He was prepared for it. But it is interesting to sort of learn about how those assessments work when we may also be paying for some of those students to be attending Franklin County Tech or elsewhere as well.
Yep.
It feels like we're double paying.
Well, we're paying for a seat that we're entitled to.
Right.
Even though we're
Holding
not
a spot.
use it. Yep.
Right.
They also, just to everyone knows, April 14th is the date where the school committee, I think is voting on the budget. Was it the school committee, Gillian?
The Maher School Committee.
Yeah. So that's the time when this is gonna be all finalized and if input is, if it's desired to give input, that would be a time to do that.
We're invited to attend. And they're hoping that there will be some students who have not, throughout all of Maher, who have not been attending, will be returning this coming year, hopefully. And they said one good thing is that the debt service for the dam is paid off, and they're still paying on the construction loan until 2026, but they're looking forward to that payment being done, so they can put a new roof on.
Yeah.
And they did say that the revised budget they're expecting could go down, be decreased from the amounts that they're initially talking about.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to check in for a second just about select board schedule. So I haven't updated on the website yet, but next week we have obviously the special town meeting on Wednesday night, 7. That would normally be a select board meeting night, a first Wednesday of the month. So you all are scheduled to meet on Thursday, a week from tomorrow. And so
I think, right, or is it 2 weeks? 2 weeks from tomorrow, I think.
I think it's the 14th.
Oh. Oh, okay. Is that what we decided? I'm sorry.
I mean, we
Okay.
could, well, I don't know if we want to revisit.
No, that sounds good. If that's the schedule I share with you, I'm sorry. I just remembered it wrong. Okay, good. I'm glad we don't have a meeting next week. That's all right. Laurel's here.
Yes.
Before we
Laurel.
leap off that, Glenn, could you just clarify that last bit? Our next meeting is when?
Yeah, let me pull that up so I'm not operating from memory, which is faulty.
It's scheduled for April 14th, the same as the Maher vote.
Ah,
April 7th is a Wendell New Salem School Committee, so I would have remembered if it were for that date.
Okay. That sound right to you, Glenn?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And we're seeing Laurel here. Welcome, Laurel.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, thanks for coming.
Yes, you're welcome.
And we're on what seems to be pretty much our last agenda item of the meeting, which is the resolution to support the fair share amendment on the annual town meeting.
Great.
And would you like to say anything about it?
A few words. This is similar to something that's happening on the federal level. S1652, Paying a Fair Share Act of 2021. It's an amendment in Massachusetts, of course, that proposes to amend the state constitution, which is how it's different from the federal level, I believe. Anyway, the Fair Share Amendment should raise about $2 billion used for education and transportation. It does seem to be earmarked for those uses. It would add 4 percentage points on the portion of a person's annual income that is over $1 million a year. So it could be adjusted each year according to cost of living index, if there are increases. And this whole thing will be decided by the voters in November. So basically, we're saying we'd like to see it on the ballot.
Right. Seems like a pretty reasonable request. Any thoughts from the select board?
I read a little bit about it and I support it.
sounds good to me. I'll support it.
Okay, I will too. So let's vote on that. I move we put a resolution on the annual town meeting warrant to support the fair share amendment.
Second.
A second.
Any further discussion?
Model resolution includes a place where you can kind of say like how many bridges in the town need support, how many road projects haven't been funded. So we can either phrase it that way and I can get those numbers from Phil, or we can just kind of speak generally about the need for funding for infrastructure in Wendell.
And schools.
Yeah, the resolution language, like the template that we're working from, only asks kind of for the numbers. I think it only asks for the numbers of bridges and road work that needed to be done, the way it's phrased. So we can wordsmith it however you like, but template.
Laurel, do you think we need or should spend
More
time
detail?
itemizing
If-
things, or should just a blanket resolution is okay?
If Glenn has done that homework and has some figures, that sounds really good, but not a whole lot, not a whole lot of detail, because that can ruin things.
Okay.
Mm.
Does
I
that
can
sound reasonable,
see
Don?
yeah, I can see what information Phil can easily share with me and put it in.
Okay.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you.
Yep.
everyone.
Thank you. That sounds great.
See you all.
I think
Yeah,
we've got a motion on the floor. That was the discussion. Any further discussion? Then we can vote on that. All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye. That passes unanimously, and so that will go on the warrant, Laurel.
For it.
Thanks,
Take care.
Laura.
Thank you. Okey doke. Any further items? I think it covered everything on my list.
Yep, I have nothing.
Should we do another posting for the board committee vacancies?
Yeah, using Anna's document that has
Yeah.
the complete list. I think that'd be great.
And maybe reminding people that at the elections, they could write in.
I think that's a reasonable request. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Would you like it to come from my office? Or would you like
Sure.
it to come from the select board office?
Can it come
I
from
think-
both?
I think coming from you would be great, Anna.
Yeah, I mean, I can list what the vacancies are and the process by which you become a write-in candidate and why that is superior to being appointed after the election.
Great.
Nice, I love
Great.
it.
Beautiful.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Anna.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
Wendell residents better look out. There's going to be some write-ins going on.
The one person that I did talk to that I was recently swearing in who would be interested in being more active is Matt Rayner.
Oh. Okay, good.
He seems very keen to be parts of things, so I don't want to overextend him, but I did send him information on all the different vacancies, and hopefully he'll let me know which one he's most interested in.
Great. Good. Thanks.
Thank you. And I don't know if you had a chance to see, or I think Dan, you saw it, the little posting flyer. I did a really quick
Yeah.
flyer, and I can print that out tonight and stick up a few things, through this weekend. Tomorrow.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Sounds good.
And there was just one question I had about it, though. I did change the language on the one thing, and maybe I should change it back regarding the tractor. I just put capital. I had just picked that up from Doug had said he wanted to make an amendment to it at the town meeting, but maybe I should keep it as tractor for now.
Yeah, because that's the way it's posted.
Yep.
And anybody's interested in the general subject can go to the town meeting and see if any amendments are going to be made on it.
Sounds good. Okay, I think that's all I have.
All right. Thank you. Thanks to everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joshua, Anna, Gillian, Laurie, and Glenn.
And Don.
And Dan. Oh, Don.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Dan, yeah. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thanks
All
a
right.
lot.
Good night, everyone.
And I
Bye.
guess we can adjourn the meeting at 8:05. Night.
Are you
Night.
discussing signing warrants? Or-
Oh,
Oh,
thank you.
nice.
Thank you. Good idea.
I'm leaving now, but you can discuss.
Okay. Thanks, Anna, for keeping us on the straight and narrow. Gillian, what time is good for you?
I'll probably be in about 8.
And Lori?
I might do later in the afternoon, like
Okay.
1:30.
Okay, I'll go in around 10 then.
Okay.
Anything else? All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Thanks.
Good night.